Hello, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I hope you get to celebrate it today. I hope you're safe, and I hope that you do whatever you need to do to have a good fun time. Today, we're gonna do something a little bit unusual for my channel. Which, as if there's any usual thing for my channel. It's just sort of a random hodgepodge of stuff that I like to, whatever. We're gonna look at my collection of Gundam model kits. Gundam, if you don't know what it is, oh geez, it's a mecha anime, right? It's just a mecha anime. It's the quintessential modern mecha anime, right? It started in the 70s. There's been a whole bunch of different spin-offs and whatnot. If you like, stories about war and about injustice and all that, and if you also just like to watch cool things go boom, Gundam is a fun time. Check it out. I recommend Gundam Thunderbolt, specifically the first video, the first movie. I believe it's called Bandit Flower. I loved it. It was incredible. The second one's also pretty good too, but the first one's really, really good. Anyway, we're going to go through. I have a bunch of different kits. I acquired them both as gifts and on my own over the years, and I think we're just going to look at them. We're going to go through them in the order that I purchased them or acquired them, and we're just going to have a fun time today on this wonderful, wonderful gray Christmas Eve. We're going to start off with one of my favorites. This is the first one I ever got. I decided to treat myself to it. This is the 1/100 Master Grade Master Gundam. Appropriate, right? This is actually the oldest kit that I have, aside from being the one I've had the longest. This is from the early 2000s, I believe. I think it's from 2003, and you can kind of hear it. So, like, here, let me take the real Frame Astray's sword. If you hear, see it sounds a little bit hollow. And it feels hollow, too. Despite the fact that there are some voids. We're going to get to some kits later on that do have some voids in them. This thing does feel a bit cheap and a little bit hollow. And the plastic is from, 16 years ago, so I wonder how long it actually has. But, at the same time, I mean, look at this pose. I got it on... Oh, it's flopping. It's flopping. Oh, wait. There we go. I got it on, 1 foot. I mean, look at this. This is with no stand, right? This is from G Gundam, which is mostly this isn't a military combat mech, right? This is an action figure. The robots in G Gundam are like the characters from Street Fighter, even down to being from other countries and having some questionable design choices with the other ones. But no, this is one of my favorite mobile suits ever, period, in the entire franchise of Gundam. So I love it. Honestly, even despite the age, I think that this and the God Gundam are probably really worth your time. I don't have the God Gundam, but I really want it. They're also not very expensive. So if you want to spend a little bit more time cleaning them up and maybe painting them up a little bit more, they're well worth your time. All right. Bye, Master Asia. Have a good one. Take care. Your fingers can go cry somewhere else. When we can move on to this. This is the Ground Type Gym 2, I think. I don't really know. I don't actually watch that much Gundam, right? I'm into the kits, not really the show itself. This thing I got, this is my second kit that I got. I got it because I wanted something a bit more mechanical. When it comes to Gundam, there's basically two types of Gundam. There are super robots, and then there are mecha. And I'm more into the mecha type stuff, though some of the super robot Gundams are fucking awesome. This thing is based on a pretty old inner frame. I should say, too, this is another master grade. And master grades are different from other grades of Gundam. There's a master, high grade, real grade, perfect grade. And there's a few others, but those are the main ones. Master grade is special because it has an inner frame. So these armor pieces... I'm not going to try to take it off because they hold on pretty tight. They wrap around like an endoskeleton, essentially. And that allows you to pull off some really good articulation. And actually, so, you can do that. He does this. He can bring his arms out and cross them like this. And he can go shooty, 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 It's just a really well-made kit. And it, this specifically, I love, the rocking here. It goes like that. It turns really well. The back skirts don't actually move. I'm missing a few of the pieces, as you can tell. I don't take very good care of my kids. But, like, still, like, it can do this. I mean, that's with a back skirt that doesn't move. And that's actually rare. It's the only one of my master grades that doesn't do that. You've got, like, these little guys here. They made, this is a 2.0 frame, right? So the inner frame is, for a while they had very similar inner frames. They were getting use out of the Gundam RX-78 2.0 Master Grade. And they used variants of that inner frame, I believe, in the Zaku 2.0s, and also in the GMs. And there's a GM Sniper variant of this. There's another Sniper variant with very different armor, but I believe the inner frame is also pretty similar. Whatever. No, this is a really, really good kit. I love it. It is great. You can also get it for pretty cheap. And I mean, it's so worth it. I mean, it's such a simple kit. And honestly, I think that the simplicity, I mean, not in terms of build, but in terms of design, it's so simple. And the simplicity, I think, is where it gets its charm. Like, you really don't have to spend a lot of time, like, building it and coming to grips with what it does. It's just a soldier. I like it. Excuse me. All right, moving on to another one. This is one, so this was meant to be like an entry, like a gateway drug into Gunpla, right? It was meant to be easy to buy because it's cheap. It's really cheap. It's actually probably like the least amount of money I've ever spent on a Gundam, not counting the ones that I got as gifts. This is the, come on, work with me, buddy. Work with me. There we go. This is the 00 Diver, the high-grade 00 Diver. If you can get this thing, it is 100% worth your time. So this is a variant of a previous mobile suit from another series called Mobile Suit Gundam 00. And it is, of course, the titular Gundam, the 00. And what's cool about it is it actually comes with the parts to make the 00 legs. I'm missing these things. They're in my little box of Gundam parts. It comes with the parts to make the regular 00 legs and also the regular 00 head. So as cool as this thing is, if you want the more simple, streamlined look of the classic 00, then you can do that. And I actually had this guy set up in that way for a while. And I mean, look at this thing, right? It's really cool. Now this, you might be able to tell, is actually a lot smaller than the previous two, right? Bring the gym back. So it's much smaller. Why is it smaller? It's a high grade. What's a high grade? Well, high grades are like the entry level, like definitive starter Gunpla experience, right? Though I started with a master grade. You can start with basically any grade. They're not, hang on, fix this thing. Yeah, they're not really like that much different. There's more pieces, and the pieces might be a little bit smaller. But for the most part, they're all just, you're snipping stuff off runners and putting them together, right? High grades don't actually have inner frames, but they make up for it by being really simple builds, really fun, easy, quick builds, and you can get a lot of kits. If you don't really care about like how impressive the build quality is, you just want a specific suit, or you want a bunch of suits, there are a lot of really cool high grades out there. Like this one. I love it. And actually, they have an accessories kit for this thing. So if you want to spend twice as much and get giant fuck-off swords, then it's fun. But no, I love this thing. It is so cool. Just a great, just wonderful, wonderful kit. So much fun. It even has a little built-in peg, a little peg hole, so you can stick it on a stand, have him flying around. So much fun. Such a great little kit. Well, anyway, so we're moving on over. I got a bunch of kits for Christmas last year, and we're going to go over those. So this is one that was given to me by someone you guys probably know. The co-host for my podcast, my younger sibling, gave me, boom, the high-grade Leo. And as you might be able to tell, I did a bit of work on this guy. I put some red paint on this thruster, kind of bleeding through, but I did a little bit better job on the rear guy. I like how that turned out. And I also did some panel lining on the legs to make those look a little bit better. See, I just sort of picked out some of the little gugas and, come on, zoom. There you go. As you can see. But no, this, I mean, I have some really cool kits, really excellent kits, and you've seen some of them. But this, I think, it's probably my favorite one. You know, I mean, just look at this thing. It's so simple. It's just a guy with a gun, and he's really simple to move. He's got a really good look. This is from Gundam Wing, which, if you know Gundam, but you don't watch Gundam, you know Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing was huge back in the day. I watched Gundam Wing when I was a kid, even though I didn't like it, right? I don't even know what the fuck happened in Gundam Wing. Someone please tell me, right? But I remember the Leo being one of my favorite designs in the entire show. And that's a lot. That's saying a lot, because that show had some amazing designs. But no, I love that the gun looks really cool. It has this sort of like kind of old, kind of like World War II thing going on, right? There is this really nice kind of pseudo-retro like style that Gundam Wing had, and this thing just embodies it. It's really cool. And like the high grade, like the 00 Diver, this thing actually has another accessories pack to give it, like, you know, bazookas and jetpacks and wings and shit. But you know what? As it is, this thing is like maybe $10 online. Pick it up. It is such a fun kit. And you're supposed to troop build, so, you know, buy a billion of them. And actually, you're also supposed to troop build with this thing. This is the Magnac, also from, or the Maniac. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. I don't remember a thing about Gundam Wing. This is the Maniac, Magnac, whatever, from, again, Gundam Wing. It's a really it's such a different build, right? So you're meant to troop build just like with the Leo, but it's such a different build. First off, it isn't quite as bendy and flexible. It still has excellent range of movement. You can still do a whole bunch of cool stuff with it. You know, it still feels, it's an inexpensive kit, but it feels really solid. Not a lot of movement in the head, but it's really cool. One thing I like is that these yellow parts aren't stickers. They're actual plastic inside the little brown bits. The lines, I, of course, added myself. I panel lined this thing, too. But, like, it's such a beefy motherfucker. Just check this thing out. Like, its legs are just, it's thick. This is a thick boy, right? It comes with an axe and a rifle and a shield, and I don't have those on him right now, but like, so good. This is such a simple kit, and that's what I think makes high grade so good. You know, if you don't really want to put that much effort into a build, you just want something right then and there, dude, high grades, even like especially modern high grades, low, just a quick return on your investment, right? So much fun. I love this thing so much. It's great. But I also love the thing I bought with some leftover Christmas money that year, also from Gundam Wing. Probably my favorite suit from Gundam Wing, next to the Leo. The Tall Geese. And now you might be thinking to yourself, whoa, this is a pretty complicated looking kit. Like, it's shiny. It looks like it has an inner frame. It's got these guys here. There's a billion parts on those, right? It's got the head, and it's got an opening cockpit, too. Like, what is this? Well, I'm glad you asked, viewer, who didn't actually ask that question. This is a real grade. Now, real grades, I think they're the only ones that I'd recommend you avoiding if you've never built a Gunpla kit before, right? So a real grade is a high grade with the engineering of a master grade. So they're still smaller than a master grade. At least most of them are. It depends on which one. Most of them are smaller than master grades. However, they have the same engineering and sometimes even better engineering. I've heard some people say that this has better engineering than the master grade Tall Geese. And one thing it actually has above the master grade Tall Geese is it actually comes with a blue sticker for the eyes. The regular Tall Geese master grade does not have that, so you have to paint it yourself. Which, I mean, you know, we're talking about like an 8-inch tall Geese. That's a really small sacrifice to make for an 8-inch tall Geese. But like, this thing has, the thing that got me into this was like the panel shifting. So look at this. Like, how kick-ass is that? There's a lot of fun little movable things. You've got these guys here, these little thrusters in the back that are really fun to move around. This whole thing moves. You got whatever the hell this is, right? The arms also bend, right? They have that sort of deformation there. You've got, like, there's a place to store the beam sabers on the friggin' shield, which actually the Leo has as well. If you can't tell, this is the bad guy. Those are also the bad guys. You know, you got your thing here. Got this giant ass rifle that it can't. I have such a hard time like having him hold it, but this thing can. The barrel goes back and out. It extends and retracts. I'm not gonna just leave it at that. These guys in the back are really cool. I mean, here, let me open one up for you. You got this guy here. Got this guy here. I think you got to pull this thing out. Hello? Yeah. What's happening? Hello? Okay, there we go. Here we go. All right, there we go. Come on. Whatever. So yeah, there. And there's two of those. And like there's a bajillion parts in these things, but like it's weird because it's a small kit and it feels so solid. It's such a well-built kit. With one exception. Now this thing used to have an amazing ab crunch. It could go down and out and whatnot. It could like curl up and look really intimidating. It was really cool. Except for one problem. So this shiny plastic is beautiful, and I love that they used it for the outside. Except it's also kind of brittle. Now, that's not a big problem except that the top half and the bottom half are held together by a single piece, which is made of that plastic. So it broke, so I had to glue it together. So the top is glued to the bottom. It cannot bend. It can still like turn a little bit and still rock side to side, so that's fine. But it's still a bit of a bummer because like it was a really nice bend. Just make it ABS. It would have been fine, or I don't know. It's the only problem in any of the real grades that I've encountered thus far. Real grades are typically kind of fragile, at least older ones are. This is a newer one, so it's not that bad. And I still do recommend it. Just be very careful with the thing. There's unfortunately not a way to replace a broken part on a kit like this, so whatever. But still, the Tulgis, my favorite Gundam Wing suit. I love this thing so much. I love this thing so much. But then there's the next one that I got, which is I mean, like, so, yeah, this thing, this fucking thing, huh, this is, like, just one of the best kits, period. It's one of the best kits ever. A lot of people consider this and the real grade new Gundam to be, like, the two of the best Gundam kits, or like the two best Gundam kits, period. But I mean, yeah, they're not wrong. This thing is fucking amazing. This is the real grade Sazabi. This was I believe it was the final suit used by original Gundam bad guy and best boy Char Aznable. This thing fucking owns. I mean, there are so many little details in this thing that they managed to cram in. One of my favorites is this backpack is so cool. These vent things open up, and then you can actually display these separately if you have wires to they have a little this thing kind of juts out and as like a laser nozzle. You got like little vents and little thrusters in the back, but this thing is really cool. So this whole thing is on a mechanism. So if you push it down, it goes like that. Pull it up, the thruster goes up too. I mean, and I didn't even realize that when I was building the kit, and then I put it together and I'm playing with it, and then this happens, and I'm like, what? But then you can also do this. All right, so you got what? And that's just the fucking backpack. Then you come to this, and you're like, oh, I want to make it look cooler. So then, well, you slide this down, right? And then you can even like slide this down. Hang on, I don't want to break it. I never believe people when they said that it's hard to move these things on camera, but it fucking is. It really is. You can you can extend the elbows to give them a better degree of motion. You can extend the arms to give them a better degree of motion. Really helps out when you're using the shotgun. It's so cool. The range of movement is really good. He has a bit of an ab crunch too. You can open up his head to kind of reveal, I believe this is the cockpit, right? It's so cool. And he has a really nice, like, kind of shiny, like, mono eye in there. Ah, it's so cool. I love this thing so much. If you can get it for a good price, I highly recommend it. It goes for a little bit much online, especially in these pandemic times. But, oh my god, I cannot overhype how cool this thing is enough. It's a lot easier to use, to play with than the Master Grade, which is, I mean, you saw how tall the other Master Grades are. Actually, hang on. Let's bring back the gym. All right, let's bring back the gym. Okay, it's almost as tall as the gym. In fact, I think it basically is as tall as the gym. Imagine this thing, and here, look, this is it compared to like a standard 1/144th scale, right? Right? It's a brick. It's a fucking brick. Like the Master Grade is a brick. This thing, I think, is a good compromise. Though that said, I would happily get the Master Grade Sazabi. Don't get me wrong. This thing is so cool. It also comes with another beam saber and a giant beam tomahawk, which you can put this on and make a huge fuck-off sword. You have a little spot here on the arm you can use to plug in the shield, which you can plug the sword into and make it a sword shield, which, you know, that's pretty cool. I am still in awe of this thing. It is so good. And it poses really well. There's a lot of, like, dynamic motion you can get out of this thing. You know, you got these shifty bits here. This whole thing kind of comes out and moves. I mean, I like the knee, too, because, look, the knee goes in and out. There's so many, like, hidden details in these kits. Like, you'll be building them, and then you'll start to... And then you'll just find these things. They're so well hidden, despite the fact that, you know, you are the person putting them together. I love that in these things. So yeah, the Sazabi, one of the coolest fucking things ever. I love this thing so goddamn much. And we're getting towards the end here, right? I got this at the beginning of the year, and I went for a while without getting a new one. And then my wife mentioned to one of her coworkers that I like Gundam model kits. So she got me this thing. Yes, one of the coolest things I own. This is actually a really, really kick-ass kit. I mean, it owns. I love this thing. This is the high-grade Gundam Barabatos. This is like the main Gundam, the first form of the main Gundam from Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. And it is a kick-ass little thing. As you can tell, this is mostly painted. That's painted. Actually, the yellow, I painted that as well. I'm really proud of how that came out. What else do I have? That's panel line. That's painted. That's painted. That's panel line as well. This is painted. This is painted too. The red's painted. The black's painted. This thing is so cool. And what's cool about the Iron-Blooded Orphans kits is because they're so, like, ramshackle looking, like barely, like super basic exposed, barely held together, they actually have partial inner frames. All of them do. So that's really, really fun. So, like, if you want to build a cheap kit with an inner frame, I say cheap kit, but these things aren't very cheap anymore. But if you want to build like an inexpensive kit with an inner frame, these things are a really, really good option because they hold up really well. They're super flexible. They pose like really, really well. Let me just get a good pose going here. You know, here we go. There we go. You know, standard basic ass pose, right? But like so much articulation, so much movement, so much opportunity to like make this thing, like really make it your own. I love this thing so much. It was really, really cool. And I really appreciated this. However, a few months later, towards summer, Target started carrying Gundams. And they started carrying this. But here's the thing. This is the high grade. Oh boy. Okay, so this is the high grade Gundam Barabatos. And this... this is the master grade Gundam Barabatos. Look at this thing. This hulking behemoth. This colossus. It is just... I'm speechless. I mean, look at it. Right? This thing is so impressive. I mean, you don't even understand how blown away by this thing I am. Dude, the shoulder, like the pauldrons feel heavy. There are like 5 or 6, maybe 7 pieces in the pauldrons. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 pieces in these things. They feel so good. You've got the arm. It's got pistons every freaking where, dude. Oh my god. You've got the, like, it bends. It's hard to finding a part of this thing that doesn't freaking bend, right? You've got, look, the backs of the legs move. They're articulated, right? This, I mean, look, piston here. You got pistons here, right? You got pistons here. This is a really fun joint to play with. Look at this. Look, it's got working collarbones. Look at that. You've got the cockpit with a little guy sitting in there. You got his little feeties right in there. This thing is amazing. It's so good. It's like the best $50 I ever spent. It comes with some really fun accessories too. I didn't mention it for the high grade, but it also comes with a second arm. You would take these off, and then you would put on this the beefier arm, and that's what it would use when it is wielding. This thing is the most extra thing I've ever seen in my life. So this is kind of a modified version of how it appears in the show. From what I hear, I haven't seen the show. I'm sure that the show is really good, but I have not seen it. I don't really plan on seeing it. So it has a spike, but as if that wasn't enough, you can also take these things off, and now he's got some Riddick knives, some Chronicles of Riddick knives. All right, but that's not all. That's not all. Okay, you want some more? You want more? You want something that's even cooler than that? This thing. Ba-boom. Big-ass gun. You want to know how big it is? This thing is like 8 inches tall, and it's bigger than he is. It is bigger than he is in like every way, right? But this thing, you would think, oh, it's cool, but like what else does it do? Well, and then you can mount it on his back. I don't think you guys get it. If this was the only thing that came in the box, I would be happy with it. I play with this thing all the time just because it's so much fun to like move, like the feeling, the clicky. This is amazing. This is such a good kit, honestly. I'm amazed at the engineering that goes into this thing, right? I say that as his freaking sword falls out. It feels like a 1/100 perfect grade, right? The thing that got me into Gundam when they got me into the Gundam kits back in like 2011 or so, when I was first getting into, like, when I first discovered them, was the perfect grades. It was those 12-inch kits with all these pistons. But like now, this is the kind of engineering you get in like just a $50 kit. You don't even have to go that much higher to get something truly incredible. Oh, the backpack is really cool. You got this guy here. These were separate pieces. You had to pull those off on the old on the little guy. But like now, like just it's got a whole assembly. God, I love this thing so much. If you have to get one Gundam kit, which is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to get more. But if you have to get one, get this thing. It's really cool. I'll even like watch the show, and I still think this is one of the most impressive pieces of the engineering ever. Like the articulation is insane. The little details. This thing as it vanishes behind here. I love this thing so very, very much. It is so cool. We've gotta hurry up because I've gotta record the next episode of the podcast. If you're watching this, it's because if you're watching this, we're about to record the Christmas episode. Obviously, right? So yeah, let me put this guy down, and we'll move to my most recent Gundam, which I just received it a few days ago. It's a fun kit. So this guy has a giant fuck off sword. But that wasn't the kit that inspired me to get into Gundam, right? It wasn't the mobile suit that inspired me to get into Gundam. That guy also had a giant fuck-off sword. And a few days ago, my buddy Matt, who you guys are all about to meet, right? My buddy Matt sent me, boom. This is the real grade red Frame Astray. I really like this thing. It's a lot more delicate than my other than the other real grades I have. It's based on some older real grade technology. The real grades used to be special because they had a pre-injected skeleton that you built the inner frame around, right? So you would have like all of like the arms and the legs would be one piece essentially on a runner, and then they move around, right? But it made the kits kind of delicate. So like this piece in here, the pelvis was like one piece, the inner frame for the legs and the arms and the torso were all one piece. I mean, you kind of build on them, but like then you build it and you're like, oof, ooh, that is some good articulation. Good articulation. Those aren't painted, by the way. That's just as they are. This is not painted. This is just as it is. No panel lining, no stickers or anything. You can put stickers on it. You don't really have to. The gun is really cool. The shield is great, even though it comes from the regular Strike Gundam. Even the backpack is really cool. I mean, there's a lot of detail on this guy that I like too. So like you've got, I don't know if you can see it, but it has like a hamstring almost at the back kind of movement. And then if you bend the legs, the coolest part of any Gundam kit usually is the legs, right? So let's bend the legs, right? Let me show you what I love about the legs. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, these things aren't like super strong, but they're fun. They're fun. Oh my god, so good. But there's a lot more going on here. Like you've got like this thing bends, and he rocks kind of side to side. He got these like little white pistons in here. It doesn't really bend far forward, but like the backpack moves. The arms are pretty good too. You kind of have to futz with them a little bit more than I would like, but they're still really great. But that's all kind of beside the point, honestly, because the reason why you get this thing is not for just how it looks and all those little bits, right? The reason you get this thing is because it comes with one of the best accessories a kit could possibly come with. It comes with a giant... I said a giant. I said it comes with a giant fuck-off sword. It comes with a giant fuck-off sword. Isn't that just what you want a robot to have? A goddamn sword. And you can even mount the scabbard too. Like, check this thing out. So, I mean, just wow. I love this thing. I love this thing so much. Thank you, Matt, so much for giving me this thing. And yeah. Well, yeah, so as it is, that's my whole collection. I predict it will continue to grow over the months and years. I expect to have more additions to this little Gundam family that I have going right now. But you know what? I think it's impressive. I'm proud of all these things. I'm proud of the time I put into building them and maintaining them and like posing them and stuff. I'm glad that I found out about this weird ass cool little thing that we call Gundams. It's good. It's good shit. I enjoy it. I hope you guys got something out of this too. Until you see me again, which is gonna be in like a few minutes when we start recording the thing. I am the Astastic Gastrarist, and this has been a nice, fun little time in my room. Have a happy Christmas, and take care.